Dawn of War 4 has officially been delayed. The game was originally supposed to launch on September the 17th, but King Art Games has now pushed the release date back by more than 2 months, with the new launch date set for December the 3rd, 2026. If you are getting the Commander Edition though, the 3-day early access period is still happening, so you'll now be able to start playing from November the 30th. Now obviously this is going to be some disappointing news for anyone who was counting down the weeks until September, especially because we were getting pretty close to that original release date. But King Art Games has been pretty clear about why they have made this decision. According to game director Jan Tyson, the extra development time is primarily going towards incorporating more feedback from the community playtests, fixing bugs, improving performance, and giving the entire game another round of polish before it gets into everyone's hands. In the announcement, Jan talked about the response Dawn of War 4 has received so far, from the faction trailers and battlefield reports, through to the multiple community playtests that have taken place throughout development. Thousands of players have actually had the opportunity to play the game and provide feedback directly to the developers. And according to Jan, all of that has started to help shape the experience that they are building. Interestingly though, Jan also says that the feedback they've received tells them that the game already feels right, and that they believe they have captured what makes Dawn of War special. So from what they are saying, this doesn't sound like a situation where some major part of Dawn of War 4 has gone wrong and suddenly needs to be redesigned. Instead though, it looks like they just need some additional time to work through the feedback they've already received and improve on what's already there. It was mentioned specifically that the time will be spent on things like bug fixing, performance improvements, and general polish. The goal is to make sure that every player gets the best possible experience from day one, rather than releasing in September and then spending the following weeks or months simply fixing problems that they already knew about beforehand. Now personally, I think that this delay really only bodes well for Dawn of War 4. Of course, I would have loved to be playing it in September, but at the end of the day, if the result of waiting a couple of more months is that the game is more developed, more defined, and ultimately more complete when it releases, then I think that is a pretty good trade-off. Ultimately, when a game launches, it typically can only make one initial impression, and that can often stick to people playing the game or not. Bearing this all in mind as well, there could be some features that could potentially benefit from this additional development time. The developers have previously talked about things like the spectator modes and replays being worked on, but at the time they weren't truly sure whether those features would actually be finished in time for the launch. Now that the launch date has been moved from September to December, I guess there's actually a better chance now that some of those features, whether it be replays or spectator modes, could actually potentially be ready for this new release date. Obviously, we don't know this for sure, and I definitely wouldn't take the delay as confirmation of that, but if those features were already being worked on, and the main problem was simply whether they would be enough time to deliver, then an additional couple of months could make all the difference. Ultimately, we'll just have to watch and wait and see. I have to say though, learning from experiences with games like Age of Empires 4, we have seen plenty of RTS games launch before they were kind of ready, and then have to spend months afterwards just trying to recover from that first initial impression. King Art Games though looks to be putting a right to that wrong. You only get one launch, and it looks like the developers are going to make it count. Now with that all being said, the good news is that they have mentioned also that we are not going to just have some complete radio silence whilst we're waiting for the game. King Art Games confirmed that they are going to continue showing us more of the game over the coming weeks, more gameplay, more deep dives into different parts of Dawn of War 4, so although the initial release has moved, it sounds like there's still going to be plenty of new information between now and launch. I'm particularly looking forward to seeing some of those additional battlefield reports, and ultimately it just gives us more chance to give feedback. Hopefully we'll also get some more playtests, but of course we don't know for sure. We're also getting an updated Year 1 roadmap alongside the announcement. Obviously the original roadmap was built around the September release date, and so of course all the post-launch content is now rearranged around December the 3rd. So overall, yes, we are going to have to wait a little bit longer for Dawn of War 4, and I'm sure there will be plenty of people who are disappointed by that, but personally, I'm not particularly worried about this. And if anything, these additional weeks will allow the team to incorporate more community feedback, actually act upon it, improve the performance of the game, remove more bugs, and even potentially finish features that might otherwise have missed the initial launch. Dawn of War 4 is going to be a more complete game, and ultimately, I think that can only be a positive thing. The real test is going to be what the game looks like when December arrives. So I guess the real question I really have to ask you guys, and it's a bit of a controversial one, but I know lots of people have different opinions. Are you personally disappointed about Dawn of War 4 being pushed back to December, or do you think that delaying the game just gives the game the better chance to be more successful? And I guess more importantly, if you could choose one thing for the developers to improve or even add with these extra months of development, what would it be? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and actually I think today I'll be paying more attention to the comments. I think a lot of people will be a bit mixed about the delay. In any case, as always, take care and see you next time.